Let's transition. Let's go to the ATL and let's talk about this Packer collapse. The Atlanta Falcons beat the Green Bay Packers 25-24. For the Packers, Jordan Love went 14 of 25. He threw for 151 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. For the Falcons, Desmond Ridder went 19 of 32. He threw for 237 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. So, I watched this game start to finish yesterday, and obviously, the Packers lost the game 25-24. And afterwards, I have a buddy who I am friends with who's a big-time Packers fan like myself, and we vent to each other. We are there for each other. I'm a shoulder for him to cry on, and he's a shoulder for me to cry on when we're upset about our beloved Packers. And so after the Packers lost yesterday, I'm texting him when we talking about the game, and the first thing he said was the reason why we lost was because of Jordan Love. And I got to thinking about how during the offseason, once we knew that Jordan Love was going to take over in Green Bay as the starting quarterback for the Green Bay Packers moving forward, and we traded Aaron Rodgers to New York, once that happened, everyone talked about how the Packers have this defense that's supposed to be a top 10 defense in the NFL. And when you look at their personnel-wise, the Packers have a top 10 defense. Up front, you got Kenny Clark. You got T.J. Slayton. You got Devontae Wyatt out of Georgia from last year. He was a draft pick from Georgia last year. At linebacker, you got Quay Walker. You got Devontae Campbell. You still got Preston Smith as well. And in the secondary, you got all-pro cornerback Jair Alexander. You got Rasul Douglas as well. Darnell Savage. So personnel-wise, the Green Bay Packers have a top 10 defense in the NFL. And so everyone was talking about how in the beginning of the season, while Jordan Love is trying to get into a rhythm and learn how to play the quarterback position as a starter in the NFL and learning how to go through his progressions and reads and just become a competent quarterback, everyone was talking about how the Packers have a defense that they can rely on while Jordan Love develops on the field. Because off the field, I feel like he's developed. He's developed, but it's only so much you can do off the field. At some point, you have to get in there and actually play. And so while he was going through his development stage, the strength of the team was supposed to be the defense. But after watching the performance yesterday from the Packers defense, it is clear that in these first 2 games, Jordan Love, yes, Jordan Love, ladies and gentlemen, is the strength of this Packers football team. Let's look at Jordan Love's numbers in the first 2 weeks, shall we? Jordan Love, he's went 29 of 52, 396 passing yards, 6 touchdowns with a passer rating of 118.8. That passer rating leads the NFL. Now, that completion percentage isn't great. He's only completing about 56% of his passes, but that will get better as time goes along. And remember, this is Jordan Love without his number 1 receiver in Christian Watson. And yesterday, he didn't have Christian Watson, Aaron Jones, or David Bakhtiari. I don't know why the hell David Bakhtiari didn't play in this game. You asked Matt LaFleur in the post-game press conference, if you ask him what's going on with David Bakhtiari, he gets frustrated. He doesn't want to talk about it. I don't know what the hell's going on with David Bakhtiari. We know he's friends with Aaron Rodgers. And a part of me as a Packers fan, I just wonder if when Aaron Rodgers walked out of that door in Green Bay and walked out of Lambeau Field for the final time, Sometimes I wonder if David Bakhtiari walked right out with him because they're friends. I don't understand why the hell David Bakhtiari doesn't play in games. But Jordan Love played great yesterday, even without David Bakhtiari, Christian Watson, and Aaron Jones. No, he didn't score in the fourth quarter. He didn't play great in the fourth quarter. And he did miss. He missed a wide open Romeo Doubs in the fourth quarter. And they had a debacle on the center quarterback exchange on the quarterback sneak. But for the most part, in these first 8 quarters of the season, in 7 of those 8 quarters, Jordan Love has played at a high level. And he's proved that he can be the franchise quarterback moving forward for the Green Bay Packers. It's only a short sample size, but he's proved it. But you know who has not lived up to the hype? It's this Packers defense led by defensive coordinator Joe Barry. They were pathetic yesterday. Yesterday, the Packers defense allowed 211 rushing yards from the Falcons, 446 total yards for the game. How the hell you give up 211 rushing yards and you got players like TJ Slayton, Kenny Clark, Preston Smith up front? How the hell you give up 211 rushing yards? You know what happened yesterday in Atlanta? The Atlanta Falcons punched the Green Bay Packers in the mouth, and the Packers had no response. No response whatsoever. And in football, there are times where you have to get physical. It can't always be about finesse. It cannot always be about finesse. Sometimes you got to put your mouthpiece in your mouth, and you have to put your helmet on and buckle up your chin strap and know, oh, it's a battle. It's about to be a fight. And yesterday, the Green Bay Packers defense lost that fight to the Atlanta Falcons offense. B.J. Robinson, the running back for the Falcons, Desmond Ridder, they ran all over this Packers defense. And this was supposed to be the strength of the team this year. And they have not lived up to the hype. They had another running back, Tyler Allgeier, as well in their backfield. Tyler Allgeier and B.J. Robinson dominated this football game. 211 rushing yards. It was awful. And everyone, like I said, I'm talking to my buddy, and he's telling me how, oh man, they lost the game because of Jordan Love. I'm telling him, bro, did you not watch the same game I just watched? The Packers had a 12-point lead in the fourth quarter. 12-point lead in the fourth quarter, and you could not finish that deal. If the Packers defense gets one stop, the Packers improve to 2-0 on the season and would be the number 1 team in the NFC North. All the other teams in the NFC North lost in week 2. So the Packers would have been at the top of the division at 2-0, going home back to Lambeau for a week 3 matchup against the New Orleans Saints next week. But instead, the defense could not do one job, and that's stopping the run. Because I don't think Desmond Ridder has developed yet to where you feel like you can put the game in his hands and he can win it for you. Desmond Ridder needs an effective running game to be effective. So I feel like if the Packers would have stopped the run, hell, they gave up 211 rushing yards. If they would have given up even just 100 rushing yards for the game, then you would have forced Arthur Smith, the head coach of the Falcons, you would have forced him to have to put the ball in Desmond Ridder's hands, and the Packers were already winning the game. They were up 12 points. So Jordan Love had did his job. Yesterday, without Aaron Jones and without Christian Watson, the Packers had a 12-point lead in the fourth quarter, and they could not close the deal because of a defense that has not lived up to the hype. Quay Walker dropped a for sure interception. Jair Alexander completely whiffed on a pick 6. He had a pick 6 early in that ball game and completely dropped the interception. Completely dropped it. So I don't want to hear Packer fans talking about, oh, the reason why we lost this game is because of Jordan Love. No, Jordan Love did his job. It was the defense that did not do their job. And that's the reason why the Packers are 1-1. And now, tough week 3 matchup against the New Orleans Saints next week in Lambeau. It's an early season must win for the Packers.